what you're working on. CFA level 2. So I'm on module 4 of quants, model training and evaluation. Once I'm done with this, I'm good. Let me actually put a quiz of what I should do next. What are you guys working on? After quants, what topic? I do study. Okay, so there's fixed income or economics. Yeah, you're doing math. Oh, nice. What year? Can you guys vote? Nice hair, man. Thank you. You're a commerce student, it seems. No, I'm not a student. I'm working, but I'm doing CFA level 2. Bro, better teach me fixed income after reading that. I prefer skinny white women. No offense, my sister. Who cares? Dreadlocks in 2026. Are you for real? Who cares? I just subscribed. Hope you'll take my advice and change. Who cares? Okay, I need more votes. How can you hate economics? There's a budget. Is it next week? Let's see. National Treasury budget. Yeah, it's on the 25th. There's a budget speech on the 25th. You want to be able to understand South Africa's revenue drivers. So, personal income tax, corporate income tax, and because commodities have done so well, they're going to be talking a lot about the commodity windfall, which is basically the excess tax that commodity companies are going to be paying towards the fiscus. So those are the revenues. Then they're also going to speak about corporate income tax being higher than personal income tax, and there being no growth in the tax base. There's no growth in the tax base because South Africa only has about 2.5 million professionals. South Africa only has 2.5 million professionals because people were historically locked out of education because of the apartheid, and what that basically translated to is poor education system persisting. So we've got less and less people entering professional spaces because of the poor education system, and those who do go and get degrees are often not absorbed because there's a big disconnect between the things that people are studying and then the things that the economy needs. Ne? So those are just the revenue drivers. Then you want to go and understand is spend. So revenue, I think we've got I want to say 1.4, 1.4, yeah, trillion, right? And then on the spending side we spend about 1.6. So obviously 1.6 is bigger than 1.4, right? So we've got about a 200 billion deficit, right? And then they'll tell you that about 850 odd is being spent on the provincial spare or share. So there's mandated spend that needs to be spent at a provincial level, so towards things like education, towards things like health, towards things like SAPs. So it's split based on the provincial share, which is another calculator. And then the other about 750, 800,000 that is spent is on the balance sheet of South Africa, and that is there's interest expenditure there, and then there's other things. So you want to be able to understand all of that when they're speaking. Then they'll speak about primary surplus. So we've got a small primary surplus as of December. And what the primary surplus speaks about is if you exclude debt payments. Ne? So now you understand that South Africa is not getting enough money. We're not raising enough taxes to pay for the debt that or our spending. Then like 200 billion has to come from somewhere, and that's where the borrowing comes in. That's where funding comes in, and that's why National Treasury has bonds that they issue. So if you don't like economics, then you're not really gonna have like a picture of how everything comes together. You're not gonna fully appreciate a budget speech and things like that. And when Leseja cuts or when Leseja holds interest rates, when the MPC meetings are held every 2 months, then you're also not gonna have context on that. Precious, hi Precious. What advice do you have for FinMats at UCT? Get the exemption while you're there. Try your ultimate best to get the exemption. I think if you finish, does Dr. Shaw still teach it? Dr. Shaw Mataramvura? Like, for that thing, you need to stay on top. Don't fall behind. You miss one lecture, you're already behind because it moves very fast. If you manage to get ahead of the curriculum in terms of your content and you're just left with questions ahead of everyone else, on an advantage because you can just go into Dr. Shaw and show what you're practicing. Because I know actual science department doesn't really like to give memos, but he's super helpful if you want to go and consult. So you want to try and get ahead of the material and then get to practicing, because you think you understand that thing, but when it comes to sitting down and you're doing questions, the answers aren't coming together. So don't fall behind. and then start practicing so you can go and consult. Shaw came back. He left. I don't know, he left. Dr. Shaw has a son who is insanely smart. I read about him when he was we were doing the chess competition last year. I suck at chess. We're doing the chess competition last year with Inside Actuaries and ASA, so the Association of South African Actuaries. And that's where I read when him and his son made it to, like, I don't know, semi-final or something like that. And I thought that's so beautiful. It's always beautiful to see, like, black boys and their fathers doing things together just in general. But it's especially beautiful to see in academia. And he's always been very supportive of me and anyone that I've spoken to who went through the XI department at UCT. He's always been super helpful and super supportive. So I just love that, he's also got a family of his own and his son is doing very well. I don't know, he left. We need more votes, guys. It's getting close. I'm only gonna be online for another 26 minutes. I need to eat and I want to finish watching Love is Blind. Don't judge me. I love trash TV. And now that I've got a little girlfriend, I like the fact that I've got someone to watch it with. And serious documentary. I don't want to think. I think enough at work. So the Love is Blind. I fell asleep last night. I was supposed to finish with episode 7. So if you guys go on treasury.gov.za, you'll find all of the information just on the plain page. On the 5th of January, they released SARS debt collection data. So SARS is one of the guys that helps with the revenue collection, right? Both for corporate income tax and for VAT, which is quite small. but also for personal income tax, as you know, with that line item in your what's the name in your pay slip. Um, but they also released provisional financing figures as at 31st December 2025. So it's a PDF, but it has an Excel that's linked to it. But it basically tells us national revenue, the receipts versus the payments. So receipts, penalties on retail bonds, penalties on this, profit on switch transaction. So switch transaction is when they switch a bond that is close to maturity for another one. So there was the R186, which was a bond that's expiring now in 2026. So last year they ran a switch program, which is basically you buy back the 2026 and then you give the investor another bond. How does that help? It helps in the sense that Treasury doesn't have to, when the bond expires, buy back or pay back all of the debt all at once. It can refinance the debt by doing the switch auction. So that's one of the things, but this isn't really what I want. What is that? SARS debt collection. Let me download it. But there's a document I downloaded recently and I sent to my team, and it definitely wasn't that. Let's see. Debt collection. Ooh, let's see. And these are big numbers, eh? Okay. I really love data. I'm so grateful I'm in this space, I guess. The nice thing about being in investments, I hope you are not talking about people's investments and assets. Are you slow? Like, was this slow learner? Did you have to sit in front of the class to get special attention from the teacher? So, what this is basically... Why is my Microsoft kicking me out? Right, so this speaks to cash collected from debt. So the December numbers, it's basically speaking to how much they think they're going to collect. So expected monthly cash collections to raise 35 billion additional revenue from prior year. They only have 10.5 billion, or they had 10.5 billion in December. And then expected monthly collections to raise 100 billion projected baseline in 2025. As of now, they had about 7 billion projected or penciled in. There's an undisputed debt book, which is basically people who have acknowledged their debt and they say they're going to pay. So on pay as you earn, their debt acknowledged book was about 41 million, right? On corporate income tax, it was 118 million. Sorry, that was in November. And then admin penalties was 26 million. So admin penalties include corporate income tax admin penalties and personal income tax admin penalties. So admin penalties is when you pay your, or you submit your tax return late. So I've basically contributed to that line item before. Then there's a disputed tax debt book, which is basically me saying that's not how much I own, so they penciling it in, whereas the other one is undisputed, so we know that that money is going to go into the coffers. Then there's a credit book as well, which is money that SARS owes to us, right? But that isn't the spreadsheet I wanted. Anyways, I'm taking out of my time for studying, but what you can do is you can basically go on treasury.gov.za. That's where you find everything related to how, the South African government raises money, how the South African government spends money, and how the government funds the difference between how much we spend versus how much we gain. You sound like you need attention. Where's your mom? or get a girlfriend or get a boyfriend. It's 2026. Get both. And I'm going to block you. I can see you're bored. Sorry, I had a call. Oh, you guys are cutting it close. 50-50 with 10 votes. Who is going to break it? Who is going to break it? You're really inspiring. Thanks, man. Thanks. I do what I can. I do what I can. I wish more of us would go into investments. It's so interesting. Like every time Stats SA comes out with something, it's applicable. Every time National Treasury comes up with something, it's applicable. Every time South African Reserve Bank, I mean, you've probably read the articles about the SOB doing away with the prime lending rate and what's that going to mean for wholesale funding, what's that going to mean for commercial funding, what's that going to mean for retail funding, what's going to happen to, my Polo Vivo contract with Nedbank's MFC. Is it just going to be the wording that's going to change? All of that. And it's coming off the back of the introduction of a new reference rate, which is Zaronia, which is going to be replacing JIBOR. So that I don't really understand a lot, but my team does, and they talk about it quite a bit. But yeah, so they also want to do away with the prime lending rate at the tail end of sorting out the JIBOR replacement with Zaronia. So that's gonna be quite interesting to watch, and yeah, just to see it play out. Okay. Um, I'm left with all three of the master classes. So the data analysis steps, the quiz, masterclass on data explanation, the quiz, masterclass on model training and evaluation, and then the quiz. So I do the notes, then I do the masterclass, which are just the videos, or I do the videos and then I'll come back for the notes. So right now I'm really tired. I don't think I can be very good at both, but I am gonna try and do the section 1 data analysis steps quiz. It's just meant to take 10 minutes, and I think once I'm done with that, I'm gonna call it a night. Ooh, fixed income is winning. We've got 12 votes. Okay, so someone says you can tell by username you know good. One said she's not inspiring to who. She's a snob who's always about her. I know people like her. Of course I'm always about me. Who am I supposed to be about? You. uh, I don't know. You don't start something you can't finish. You're not even on my level. Damn it. Yeah, that's the only response to a weirdo like this. Let me actually just block them. Let me report. Harassment or bullying. This is harassing me. Report. Okay. Then it's not enough to report. I also want to hide user on this channel. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, like I was saying, I'm only gonna do the quiz. After I'm done with the quiz, I'm gonna show you guys what else is available besides just fixed income and economics. So I'm gonna do the masterclass tomorrow morning, first thing when I'm bright and early and fresh. And then I'm gonna get into the new topic because these won't take time. It's just the videos, and they're usually just like a refresher of what's in the notes with one or two new things that are worthwhile. Noting, but it's mostly just like a refresher. I'm quickly gonna do the quiz. Okay. Oh, it's 3 questions. I can read them out to you guys. Okay. Which of the following is least likely to be a step in the data analysis? So I like to highlight when it says least. A, structured format analysis. B, data collection. C, data preparation. Which of the following is least likely to be a step in data analysis? A, structured formative analysis. B, data collection. Or C, data preparation. Definitely A. Which of the following shortcomings of a feature is least likely to be addressed by data cleansing? So, which of the following shortcomings of a feature is least likely to be addressed by data cleansing? 1, missing values. B, common values. C, non-uniform values. A, missing values. B, common values. And C, non-uniform values. Common values, I think. Because they're not saying repetitive, they're saying common. Okay, then the last question. The process of adjusting variable values so that they fall between 0 and 1 is most commonly referred to as A, scaling, B, standardization, or C, normalization. The process of adjusting variable values so that they fall between 0 and 1 is most commonly referred to as A, scaling, B, standardization, or C, normalization. That's C, normalization, right? Okay. I'm removing this tab so that it's a standalone. I'm gonna submit. Then I'm gonna show you guys my 100%. My place is so messy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got 100%. But only for this quiz, 3 of the questions. So let me show you guys the questions. 100% is hard to get. Don't laugh. I know it's only 3 questions. So which of the following is least likely to be a step in data analysis? Let me make this small. Yeah. Structured formative analysis. So structured formative analysis is not a term defined in the curriculum. The 5 steps of data analysis include conceptualization of modeling, task, data collection, data preparation and ranking, data exploration, and model training. Then you can go on to the next one. Right. So which of the following shortcomings of a feature is least likely to be addressed by data cleansing? Common values are not cleansed. Missing, invalid, non-uniform, and inaccurate values are cleaned. Then the last one, the process of adjusting variable values so that they fall between 0 and 1 is most commonly referred to as normalization. So normalization scales variables between 0 and 1. Yeah. Okay, it looks like fixed income is winning. Yeah, I think I'm done for the night. All of the women in me are tired. I feel good after that quiz. Yeah. So I'm quickly gonna show, or rather talk through what other topics there are. And I want to see if you guys are locked in on what I should be choosing, right? So where I am at the moment is I've done 34 of the 39 activities for ethics. So I've done most of ethics. The only things that are left are probably like a big quiz for ethics. I got that out of the road, and then I am 43 out of 51 for quants. So quants and ethics, right? What else is available? There's fixed income, there's derivatives, there's alternative investments, there's portfolio management, there's economics, there's financial statement analysis, which is accounting, and then there's corporate issuers, there's equity valuation, and then there's a final review. So leave the final review. I have to finish to get to that. I'm going to go again. Quants and ethics, done. By tomorrow morning, I will be done with quants. Ethics have been done. So quants and ethics, done. We're shopping for what's next. There's fixed income, there's derivatives, there's alternative investments, there's portfolio management, there's economics, there's financial statement analysis, there's corporate issuers, there's equity valuation, and then there's final review. Are you guys still happy with your, what's her name, fixed income? Okay, someone came in and said fixed income again. Okay. All right. So after tomorrow morning, I'm probably gonna log on in the morning. I've got a guy coming to do scratches on my car. Has some paint scratches at the front. It came like that, so he's just gonna help me with that. So what he basically does is, let me actually get his Facebook and then I'll mention him. I'll actually write it in the chat so that you guys can go and look him up. He like uvusi paint, he does paint correction on cars, and he does house calls. So I share a lot of his stuff. His name is Cape Gloss by LS. Yeah, that's the name of the, I'll just maybe put it here in the chat. I don't know how to write. Yeah, I actually don't know how to write. Okay, it's called Cape, like CAPE, Gloss by LS. So yeah, he's coming to do my car in the morning. So I'm gonna try and be up by like 6:30. I'm gonna hop on if anyone is studying with me. Then I'm gonna quickly finish these 3 master classes that are holding me back from greatness, and then yeah, then we're gonna be done with quants. I'm gonna leave like one big quiz so that I can always come back to it as a refresher. It's the same thing I did for ethics. And then we can start on a fixed income. What's nice about fixed income is that I work in the fixed income desk at work. So whatever I'm learning here, I'm going to be directly able to apply. And if I have any questions, I can just ask my colleagues. So that's going to be interesting. I've already started on economics, but I did the forex thing, but I've only done very little, so I'm happy to abandon that. Thank you for the voting. I'm gonna log off now. I need to go eat. It's been an hour. I've been home since like past 3 this morning or this afternoon because I came home a bit early. I left work early on Friday. So did everyone else. So I did not skip traffic. And guys, imbi traffic as a Kapa. I don't care what they say about the traffic as a Gautini. Imbi traffic as a Kapa. So I left work a bit early and I was able to get in some work. I did some laundry. I washed my dishes. So it's been a productive day and I studied. So yeah, tomorrow we're doing a fixed income. Like I said, before this guy comes to do moto, I'm up at 6:30. I'm gonna push. Then he's gonna come around 9. And then I just need to help him plug, and then he can wash the car and do his thing outside. And then once he's done, I'm gonna be back studying. I'm also expecting a visitor, so she's gonna come and chill for a little bit. So that's gonna be a nice break. And then yeah, we're gonna push a fixed income this weekend, the whole weekend, because it's quite big and it's quite mathematical. So it's gonna be me and my BA2 plus. But yeah, thanks guys. Good night.